challenge for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It was the first game, and then it was the game against Tottenham, the game against Arsenal. Then, of course, it was this one, the big one in the Champions League. When can we assess him? When can we stop saying every game is one that could define what happens in the future?
Well, I think leading up to this game, everybody was thinking he's going to get the job regardless. He's just done too good a job for Manchester United to look anywhere else. However, the Champions League is the holy grail for a team like Manchester United. That's the barometer of where they are. And now you hear whispers of, reality check, things like that, coming up against Paris Saint-Germain. I'm not sure anybody can ever say that after one game. OK, if they got really beaten and beaten badly, but Manchester United played reasonably well that night. In other circumstances, it could have been very different. A couple of injuries have come out the game, which is not a good sign. But, a month or two ago, you would have given Manchester United no chance in this tie. A couple of things went wrong in Paris in terms of two of their star players getting injured, but the run that Manchester United went on was quite incredible. And all of a sudden, going into that game, Manchester United fans were full of hope. So I don't think you can just forget about that either. Yes, they've come up against a strong team. Tie looks to be over unless they can pull a real rabbit out of the hat. But I still think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done an amazing job from where they were to where they are now. And of course, they've still got a fair way to go, but he's made giant strides since he's taken over.
How much of a gap is there between playing in the Premier League and playing in the Champions League, particularly at the later stages, at the knockout stages?
Yeah, it's a big step. And
does it feel different as a player going into those games?
Yeah, it's a grand occasion. The crowd come out, the noise levels are the change. It's a real European atmosphere to these games, and obviously you're playing against European teams and they bring their support, and it's just a completely different feel to a Premier League game, and you feel the golfing class almost, and like everyone saw the result against PSG. It wasn't the best night for Manchester United, but they played okay in that game. It's going to be difficult going away and trying to claw that back, but they'll have to remain hopeful, and stranger things have happened in football. It could be done, but it's going to be a tough task.
What is that difference when you play in European games? Is it about the pace? Is it about the way that teams play against you? What is it?
Probably from a player's point of view, it's the biggest, one of the biggest competitions you can be involved in, and the grandness of the situation means that little bit more. It's not often players get the opportunity to showcase themselves on the European stage, so there's that to think about. But at the same time, the likes of Man United, the likes of Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool get to play on the big stage often, so they're well used to it. It's just about performing and showing how good you are on the big stage.
And we see so often with teams like Manchester United who have a European pedigree that can actually help them through the competition. It certainly helps Real Madrid, who's won 13 of them and 4 of the last 5. And you see it with teams like Manchester United, where the whole crowd gets behind them for those big European occasions. It didn't happen against PSG, and pointing out the injuries to Martial and Lingard, which certainly didn't help them, and they had to adjust to that in the middle of the game. But did it show how far Manchester United yet have to go in terms of the players that they have there, and in terms of trying to recover and get back to where they were?
Yeah, I think so. I think in terms of players, I think they're there. I think they're a fantastic, talented squad. But bear in mind that they have underperformed. This squad has underperformed for, how many years? I mean, we're talking years and years. They've rarely put in a performance of any note for 5-6 years now. So this is all quite new, quite freely and at will again. So that's going to take a little bit of getting used to, let's say. Playing in the Champions League again against that type of experience. I mean, over the last few years, it's been really about grinding teams into submission, playing in a lesser competition in the Europa League when they did so well. But they haven't been tested on the European stage with this style of play that they're playing at the moment for some time now. So I think it will take a little bit of time. However, you know, your eyes don't lie. This is a totally different Manchester United team now. We're seeing much better performances from players individually and from them as a team. And again, I'm very sceptical about watching a game and thinking, right, they're still miles away because they've been beaten in one single game. They're playing against top teams all the time. I mean, they went to Tottenham and won not so long ago, and Tottenham are there. The heroes on the Champions League night on Tuesday. So, yeah, I'm again not getting carried away by Manchester United's defeat. I think they're still a very, very good team, but still a team, you know, in progress, let's say.
Leicester have played them home and away a couple of weeks ago, and right at the start of the season. Do you see that change that Michael's talking about when you're playing against them? Yeah,
you know, when we played them early in the season, we faced a team that was start of the season and things are pretty new. We faced a good Manchester United side, and it was in good form that day. And you know, since then, you know, things have slowly deteriorated, and you know, eventually, there was a change in manager, and Ollie's took over, and he's done a fantastic job. You know, you can see the confidence in the team now. Players are playing with much more expression. You know, they look like they're playing with a smile on the face, and you know, things are going very, very well. So, you know, I think it's clear to see from everyone's point of view the transition that's been made, and it's been a positive. It's been a positive thing. You know, the change has been made, and Ollie's, you know, he's put his name right in the hat to take over. So we'll see how it goes.
So when you're standing in the tunnel, you're talking about the feel of it and the way that sort of the sense of it is different. Just standing in the tunnel next to the players, do they have a different attitude about them?
I wouldn't say necessarily a different attitude, but you know, it's how they playing on the field. You know, not just individually, collectively, things are flowing much better. You know, people are more on the same page. You know, everything's working how it should be, and Manchester United's got great players. You know, everyone knows that. It's just, can they play together and perform to the best of their ability? And I think they're showing that at the moment. And again, they've got a couple of crucial fixtures coming up. Not just the FA Cup game against Chelsea, but the one they'll want to win in the Premier League this season as well is the one against Liverpool. That's coming up on the 24th of February. It's at Old Trafford as well, so the crowd will really be behind them for that one. Then Palace, Southampton. Then it's the trip to Paris for PSG game, and then Arsenal against Manchester City. So it's not looking too comfortable, but why not?
Well, back in the big game, and big time really, isn't it, for Manchester United, playing in the Champions League, scraping through the group stage really, but now it's opened up into two mouth-watering games against Paris Saint-Germain. And then that run of games, as you mentioned, in the Cup and in the League, they're going to have a huge influence on where the title is going to go this year. And not to mention, now they've almost dragged themselves, or they have dragged themselves into a position where top four is a massive possibility as well. And they're the team with the momentum. They're the team with the confidence. The likes of Chelsea and Arsenal, you know, a little bit stuttery as of late, but Manchester United are flying. So all of a sudden, they're going to have an influence on a number of things, as I say, cup competitions, the destination of the Premier League, and their own destination in the Premier League.
Another team looking to have more than just a big say in the title race, to actually be challenging for the title itself, are Tottenham, and they're on great form at the moment despite missing key players, including that 3-0 win